ROI is extremely important. I mean, as they say, you have to deliver the bang for the buck, and that's imperative. There's no two ways around it. A small business starts with a single employee and can go up to 100 employees even, right? Your small business audience varies at every step and level. If you look at most small businesses in the country, they are some form of startups. This is how I look at collaboration, whichever organization it may be. It starts off with what are the common goals of the organization itself, right? And that has to be well defined and embedded in every employee of the organization.
Hello and welcome to the HT Brand Leadership Series, a series of one-on-one interactions with top brand and marketing leaders who share their industry insights and strategies that have helped shape their stories. This series, hosted by Hindustan Times, offers a behind-the-scenes look at how leaders adapt their strategies for changing consumer behavior while leveraging media channels that improve customer relationships. Today, we are joined by a very special person, Megha Talwar, seasoned marketing specialist with 17 years of experience in campaign planning, demand generation, and program management. As a consultant for field marketing, small business solutions at Dell Technologies, Megha crafts strategies that resonate with small businesses and deliver measurable results. At Dell, she drives ROI through a strategic campaigns tailored to small business challenges, helping them thrive in the dynamic marketplace. Welcome to the series, Megha. It's a pleasure having you.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
My first question to you is going to be, have you met Mr. Dell?
Yes, I have.
And tell us more about it.
It was a very brief meeting. It happened in Bombay just before the pandemic. It was a Dell Tech forum, and he was there for that Dell Tech forum that year in India. We met him after the forum, the day after the forum. He was there for an additional day and shook hands. We took a photo and stuff. Very dynamic personality. We had a very brief interaction. But yeah, it's a special moment because I know there are a lot of people at Dell who've been there many years who haven't had a chance to meet him. And then there are many who've had a chance to meet him in the first few years that they've been around. So yeah, the man has a personality, a very striking one at that.
Awesome. Any famous stories that are there which only the Dell team knows and nobody else knows about him, or any quirks of his?
Maybe I'm one of those who doesn't know those stories.
Okay, then we'll come back to you then. Why don't you walk us through your journey in marketing and communication over the past 17 years? What's it like? What's it been like when you started off to now? How did it all begin?
The time of the Kargil war, I was in, I think, my 11th, 12th grade, and Barkha was all over, covering. And it was the first time that you were seeing a war or the state of war being covered live, right? That really impacted me, and I said, okay, this is something I want to do. So that's where I started off from. I'm completely in a different space right now, but that's what encouraged me to look at options to say, okay, how do I get into that field? I started looking up to see, okay, what were my options, and I came across journalism, and television journalism was just about starting out as a course and as an education stream. So really shortlisted, and there were hardly 2 colleges in the country offering that. And that's how I landed up in Delhi to sort of study that. And as I did the 3 years in Delhi, I moved to Symbiosis, Pune, and then journalism, the fancy for journalism declined and the fancy for events started, clearly. And that's how I landed up. And of course, my first internship during my days in Symbiosis was with Whiscraft in Bangalore. So yeah, I think I started with the best of the breed. So I'm absolutely grateful for that. And from there on, it's been, so that was 2005, 2006, I started my career in Bangalore with Encompass Events. And again, very starstruck when Roshan Abbas came to campus for the interview and I was selected. So I was like, whoa. And so there's been events, there's been advertising, there was a bit of social media as well that I did way back when social media marketing was just about starting out. Then I got associated with the whole corporate B2B event space. I was in Dun & Bradstreet managing Dell as a key account. And from there on, the journey just evolved to eventually joining Dell, them asking me to join them to be a part of the team there. So overall, yeah, I complete 19 years this February, 19 years of work life. I think it's been absolutely exciting, interesting, lots of learning, and I think lots of connections made in these people that I've met, a lot of friends that I've made in this journey. Uh, it's been a very, very major part of my life, right? My entire career, and it has shaped me to who I am. I'd say it's been a very important in making me who I am today.
Of course,
Yeah.
because I think journalism is also about studying events
Hmm.
and studying people and making sense out of that and informing the larger
Yeah.
public. I think, and marketing is also not very different. You're basically trying to connect with audiences, trying to tell the
Absolutely.
right story. So yeah, I think it all worked out pretty well.
Yes.
Dell is known for its tech, known in the tech industry, and everybody knows about Dell. It's a household name now. Could you highlight some of the recent marketing campaigns or product innovations at Dell that you're particularly excited about?
I think for me, what's closest to me as part of Dell is the Dell For Startups Program, which is a global program that got launched about 2 years ago in India. And it specifically caters to the new age startups, the early stage startups in the country, and helps them through their journey of evolving to a larger enterprise. So it's something that I worked on over the last 2 years to launch in India, and I've continued to work on that particular campaign. As part of that, we started off with something called the Startup Challenge that slowly evolved to what we now know as the Dell Entrepreneur Challenge. We're in season 2 of the Dell Entrepreneur Challenge. It's meant for early stage startups, and then we have a special category for women entrepreneurs and women founders. It reaches out to those with or without funding. It essentially helps you position yourself, showcase what you have to a whole bunch of esteemed jury members across various stages, and then eventually you get seeded with technology from Dell. And I still remember one of the previous years winners telling us that this is as good as receiving cash funding from a VC, right? Because you end up spending a lot of that funding on technology, and here we are seeding technology. So to me, that campaign is very close to my heart, and I think it's very special because it also gives us the opportunity to interact with some amazing founders, entrepreneurs, and the ideas that come to life as you talk through this process. Because you read a lot about startups in the country, and especially being in Bangalore, the startup city, you come across a lot. But in a challenge like this, you see some hidden gems, right, that come to the forefront. And I've learned so much in over the last 2 years in hosting these challenges and meeting some extremely innovative entrepreneurs.
Maybe we'll cover some of them once they become larger enterprises.
Sure. That'll be awesome.
Coming to the whole marketing side of things, there's a lot of emphasis on ROI nowadays.
Yeah.
There's a ROI based demand generation, which is a fine art. How do you ensure that your marketing strategies align to those ROI led campaigns, and how do you drive measurable success?
ROI is extremely important. I mean, as they say, you have to deliver the bang for the buck, and that's imperative. There's no two ways around it. I think there are a couple of steps that I personally look at, and it's like my checklist. Starting off with the target audience. Who is that target audience is very important to identify, and especially in the SP space, right? Your small business audience varies at every step and level. A small business starts with a single employee and can go up to 100 employees even, right? And there is a market definition to small businesses, there's a government definition to it, and every enterprise sort of defines it separately depending on the size, environment, size, whatever. So understanding that audience, who it is that you're catering to, and what is the challenge that they have, it starts with that. And then your message needs to cater to that challenge. It needs to come as a solution to them to say, we know this is your challenge and here is a solution that we have to offer. This is extremely different from the way we work with a large enterprise, because there the challenges are vastly known more. It's similar across the board. But here it's very, very different, right? From a tech-based startup to a traditional manufacturing and system, right? So that becomes the base layer. On that, you build the messaging. So you ensure that you're reaching to them with the right messaging. which then will help them come back to you and engage with you and say, okay, yeah, you understand my challenge. You've said there's a solution. Now let me talk to you. So your measuring starts from there itself to say, okay, I reached out to so many. How many are sort of coming back to me to engage with me? And then you take those conversations forward at a marketing level, and then obviously to the sales end to close a deal or whatever.
Sure.
Right? Now, in this whole thing, measurement forms a key part.
Correct.
And today, thanks to the world, I mean, there are a lot of tools and analytics that's available for you to measure at every step of the way.
Correct.
The other thing that I think forms a very crucial part, and that's something at Dell as well that, we look at is testing. So when we go out with the comms, we're like doing an A and B test to see what is resonating well with our audience, which I think again becomes very crucial, because you may be going with the comms that you think is great, but you're not getting the results, and then you're like, oh, I'm not getting results. So A and B testing becomes very important to reach the desired results that you want to do, and setting clear objectives. What is the result you want to achieve? Because results can vary, right? Revenue is the end goal for everyone, but that's the end goal. They have to be smaller goals on the way.
Correct.
That you keep ticking and you sort of keep nurturing that funnel line to reach the revenue. So yeah.
It's a part of the process.
It's a part of the process. But yeah, you have to be very clear on the target audience, the messaging, the objectives of the KPIs, and measuring or
the end
tracking
result.
them. Yeah.
Understood. You spoke about how there's a stark difference between small businesses and large businesses. In fact, smaller businesses are more complex because they come with their own different problems and different challenges. So what are some of the strategic changes or the strategies that you're adopting at Dell to cater to this small business segment? How are you understanding their problem? How are you catering to their requirements?
I think it starts off with the fact that they have direct access to Dell Tech advisors who are specially trained to speak to small businesses. It starts with that. So it's personalized to that level where, as a small business, you have a dedicated account manager, a Dell Tech advisor who's been trained to understand your challenges and concerns and then advise you. The second thing is our solutions, right? They can be customized. We just don't cater to the large enterprises. Our solutions, our technologies are customizable for the smaller businesses as well, and we can cater to your smaller leads. We're quite open to saying that, yes, start your journey with us. It can start with a single laptop and we'll grow together.
Right.
So that's another very important thing. Then the services component, right? Dell services, tech services, customer care, etc. Again, all attuned to the small business sector. So once you've done a purchase with us, you get a services plan, you have tech support, customer support that you can reach out to. So you don't need to worry, right? Because a lot of small business today, like, Dell is too large for me and I don't know if I have access, but you do. And support becomes very important for small businesses because they can't be running helter-skelter trying to find tech support, right? So that comes as part of the package. And then the programs that we've created for them, like Dell For Startups, like Dell Women's Entrepreneur Network, Small Business Partnerships, Dell Expert Network. There are these 4 global programs that we have available today for all small businesses, which give them access to a whole lot of knowledge and content, just not related to technology, but beyond that as well, right? And they can come be a part of these programs. They can sign up for it. It's free of cost. And they can, it literally takes you on a journey to say, okay, if you're starting out, what are the legal implications? How do you market yourself? How do you build on that product? And what technology do you need? So the entire gamut of the journey is covered along. So there's a lot of knowledge-based programs also that we offer for our audiences.
So how would you, I'm sure there must be some kind of an information sharing that must be happening across geographies also, knowing that Dell is pushing the small business entrepreneurs to the next level with technology. I'm sure there must be some kind of an exchange forum that you have between your counterparts in other continents. Is that also happening?
That's very important. I mean, if I am to tell you from a calendar schedule, we at least have 2 calls every week with my counterparts across the globe, where we discuss on what we are doing, especially for these 4 programs that I just mentioned. We call them alternate routes to market programs,
Right.
catering to small businesses in particular. Startups, women entrepreneurs, small business partnerships are largely association-based programs. So you have MSME and SME associations, right? Similar associations, or professional associations, right? Which are, again, in India or abroad. And then Dell Expert Network, which is meant for our MSPs and other IT consultants to be a part of, right? So there is a lot of knowledge exchange that happens within the teams across the globe who work on these programs. And we've got global campaign managers who sort of help us carry out our messaging and translate the global campaigns that are coming in to make them viable from an in-country situation and reach out to our audiences.
So how do you interact with the customers once they are onboarded? Is there a way that you get feedback from them that the technology is really improved? Are there any stories of some happy customers who've told you and come to you and said, the infrastructure you gave us and that created a huge boost for us, for our businesses? Are there any stories that you can share with us?
Lots of them. So of course, when you go to Dell.com, you'll see a whole bunch of customer testimonials, Indian and other foreign customers who've all spoken about what the tech has done for them. So that is key, right? That's key to any business, getting feedback and sharing it with the larger audience, because nothing works better than a peer-to-peer marketing campaign, right? When you have your own peers telling you like, this was my challenge, this is a solution Dell gave me, it worked. I mean, my job's done, right? So that really works. But something that comes to the forefront for me is that from the Dell Entrepreneur Challenge, right? We from one of the previous seasons, we had a woman entrepreneur based in Pune who won this, and we seeded technology in her company. And she spoke about it on her website and stuff. The business called Optimum Data Analysis. And I met her recently when we launched season 2, and she spoke about it on stage, and she said she got her biggest customer deal, Fortune 500 company, if I'm not mistaken, who signed up with her for her services because they saw that she had won this challenge from Dell Technologies, and Dell had seeded technology in her company. And they actually reached out and said that there must be something out there that you're doing really well that Dell has awarded you with this. For me, at that point, it was like, okay, I've achieved something today, or the program has achieved something today.
Giving back or getting some social good output, it really delights you.
Yeah.
Coming to another campaign where probably you had to adapt to unexpected challenges, any campaign that comes to your mind, and you had a lot of learnings from that experience. Can you cite any of those campaigns?
So I think when I first moved from the enterprise marketing team to small businesses, and we started, one of the key, one of my first campaigns was the Dell For Startup. I had to launch it in India. It existed in the US, and then the next country to launch it was India. That was an interesting phase. It was to just understand the audience, because really when I moved in, I had not really worked in the small business space. So I was very enterprise oriented in my thinking and stuff. And then as I worked through the launch plan and how this campaign would work and how would we target the audience and what would we sort of create for them, there was a lot of learning on the way. And that's where, to your earlier question, as I said, SBs are starkly different from every individual SB company is different, right? And that sort of hit me in the process as I was working through this campaign that, oh my God. And today we have a particular definition for startups in country, the way it's defined, etc. You have to be X amount of turnover, or less than X amount of turnover, or less than X amount of years in business or whatever. But if you look at most small businesses in the country, they are some form of startups, right? Even if they've been in business for a long time, they're continuously evolving, adapting to the changing times, and trying to, grow their business, grow their revenue, etc., right? So this space, I would say, overall has been an interesting kind of a challenge to just understand that audience and then to ensure that you can market to them in the right manner. So which is why, as I said, the messaging and the content really needs to be dynamic.
Correct.
And it needs to evolve with every passing day.
that brings me to my next question on personalization. Since it's so tailor-made, how do you see the role of personalization taking place in your marketing efforts, especially when you're reaching out to these specific businesses that you just pointed out?
I think coming back again to the fact that one, you have to understand your audience, and as I said, in the small business space, it vastly differs, right? There are multiple kinds of audiences, so you have to very very clearly set your objective as to what you're trying to achieve, and which audience do you want to achieve it with. Both are critical, because you can't do a one size fits all in this category.
Yes.
You can't say this is my end objective, I'm going to do a spray and pray in this category, right? So defining that becomes very crucial, and in a large vast market like India, I think that becomes even more complicated, because there is so much, and there's so many to reach out to, right? And there'll always be the thing of there's only as much that you can do. So it has to be very clear to say, okay, what are the current KPIs or objectives that have to be achieved, and hence who should be the target audience to achieve these current KPIs from, and then what's the messaging that gets to there. And then of course there's always the thing of how much money do you have, right? What are your budgets, what are your spends, and then ROI. So personalization is extremely important. And then I think where we at Dell do a great job is, as I said, with the Dell Tech Advisors, right? So once you have interacted and engaged with us, and the Dell Tech Advisors, the conversation that they have with you, because they understand the sensitivities of a small business, and the interaction that you have with them sort of just seals the game on personalization.
Okay, I'm going to talk about collaboration now, especially with your other team members. You already said that there's an exchange forum, information sharing forum with your counterparts. So obviously, there is a lot of collaboration happening. So how do you look at collaboration with your sales, your product development team? How crucial is it in your role? Because at the end of the day, the sales teams also are the eyes and ears of the customer. They're coming and feeding you all the information. So how do you manage those alignments?
Without collaboration, there is no there's no moving forward. There's no business to do, right? And everybody is very crucial to this. Marketing, sales, product development, everybody, back-end operations, everybody plays a very important role. And personally, this is how I look at collaboration, whichever organization it may be. It starts off with what are the common goals of the organization itself, right? And that has to be well defined and embedded in every employee of the organization. You take those common goals and then you break it down to say, okay, out of these common goals, what becomes the KPIs for marketing, sales, product, ops, etc., etc. Then you break it down there. But eventually everything is leading to that common goals. The second thing that becomes important is to understand the role that each one is playing in achieving those common goals. One is not superior than the other. Everybody has a role to play. If one part is not working well, the system can collapse, right? So that mutual empathy, understanding of how marketing differs from sales, from product development, from operations, and how each one's role is crucial is very important. I think that is a sensitization that needs to happen among every employee, in any organization, right? That they should understand how the other one's working, what are the challenges that each team faces, and how as a unit together we can rise above those challenges and achieve that common goal. So these are two imperatives. Defined objectives, how do those objectives break down for each team, and how each team functions. I think cross-functional trainings also come into play, right? So a simple example is, if marketing is doing something to say generate leads, when those leads go to sale, how does sales tackle them? Right. So you have to understand what is the conversation sales is happening, and what are the challenges that they face for you to improve the quality of your leads also, right?
Sure.
So it has to be. And then sales will get you the feedback also from the customers. They'll give you their feedback on how it's working. Similarly, when a customer is talking to sales, they might have feedback about the product, which needs to reach the product team. Now, when they talk about the challenges and if the product team has faced it, how does that flow back into the marketing comms to say, we heard you and this is what we've done about it.
It has to be interconnected.
It is completely. So I think the collab has to be like absolutely tight. Very important.
You mentioned about collaboration. Obviously, that's something that must be coming or germinating out of your journalism days when you had to do anything and get the information and the right information, talk to everybody, find a way to have a common understanding about how you want to tell the story. If I have to ask you a question on if it wasn't marketing, would you been a journalist? Would you been aspiring to be a Barkha Dutt?
Interesting question. So, I'll the part on the collaboration, right? So, as I studied to be a journalist, I never really practiced it, but I think collaboration is the key to events and event management, right? And that's where like my heart and soul lies, and that's where I've come up from, and that's what I've learned. And I think a lot of what I have learned managing on-ground events is serving me really well today, right? And that because that's all about collaboration across the board, from the front of the stage to the back of the stage, like everything is all about collaboration, right? So that's brilliant. And to the other part that you said, if I hadn't been in marketing, would I have been a journalist? No, if I hadn't pursued this field, I think I would have been in psychology. I would have been a psychologist.
Awesome. Yeah, that is also related to marketing. You got to do psychographic analysis of customers.
I don't think we've reached there as yet, and I'm hoping we don't.
So if you could describe Dell brand in 3 words, what would they be and why?
Innovative, always a front runner in being innovative and introducing the latest in technology. Reliable. I think that's one thing that you'll hear from all our customers, right?
I agree.
The tech is really reliable and it serves you in the long run, right? It works with you. And customer centric. The one thing that Michael Dell talks to us in every message is that customer first. For us, it is always customer first. It is about what they need and how we can help solve their challenges. That's what our entire vision is based on. So yes, this is what is the top 3 things.
Yeah, even Jeff Bezos also says the same thing about Amazon. He thought about the customer and that's how he built the model.
Yes.
Interesting. Before I wrap this, I wanted to ask you a question, or rather I wanted to check with you, what message would you tell other younger aspiring marketers who want to make B2B marketing their choose their career of choice? What would your inputs be to these young aspiring marketers?
I think the first thing, and this is coming off my experience because people, youngsters who've come and spoken to me, B2B marketing is not glamorous. So please be ready for that. If you want to see the glamorous side of it, it's not B2B. It is a lot more about collaboration, people management, people skills, understanding the need of the business. And it's about business management and how do you grow that business, right? Whatever you're doing as marketing is to grow that business.
Correct.
So marketing doesn't run in a silo. You can't plan these amazing campaigns and execute them and not get ROI out of it. So you have to think end to end. You have to have a business mindset as a marketer as well. So you need to have both ends of the spectrum to grow. So
you mentioned that it's not as glamorous as it looks like. So what do you do to manage that quotient of bringing the glamour level up? Any hobbies or any activities that keep you interested, that peps you up?
My husband just bought himself a super bike, and I've been enjoying rides on that.
You've been riding it, or
no? I don't ride it. I don't ride it. He does. I'm enjoying the back seat and the wind in my hair kind of thing. So yeah, that's interesting. Apart from that, I am into healing, spirituality. I attend a lot of workshops and courses around that. So something that I'm looking forward to next week is 7 chakra healing course.
Right.
So I do a lot of that. I have a mentor here in Bangalore who I sort of study under. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's glamorous, but it's definitely what keeps me happy, grounded, focused, and calm.
Something for the younger marketers also to listen to.
I guess everybody finds their own thing. I think the youngsters these days are more focused and I think a little more sorted. They know exactly how much to do, when, where, and how. Unlike us, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
I remember when we started out on our careers, we were like, whatever it is, we
Yeah.
will get it done.
Yes,
Like, give me
yeah.
5 extra things. I
Yeah.
think sometimes that still doesn't leave
Yeah.
me. I sometimes have my manager tell me that, Megha, it's okay. You don't need to take this up. I'm like, nee, I'll do it. Give it to me. I'll do it. So, yeah. But I guess we get the thrill out of that.
Yes,
Like,
yes,
to do
yeah.
that extra
Yeah,
mile.
because you enjoy your work, so you want to do more of it,
Exactly.
and you can learn more. That's
Totally. Totally.
On that note, thank you so much, Megha. It's a pleasure having you and learning so much about your experiences and how you're making a difference in the small business ecosystem.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure being here. Thanks a lot.
Hope to see you again.
Definitely.